Hello and welcome to another tutorial here on the channel. I am your host, longtime listener. Be sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. This short video is going to cover the basics around management of animals and livestock on a farm in Stardew Valley. We're going to go over some of the different buildings, different equipment, different types of animals that you can actually care for, and then some general strategies in terms of how to take care of them, which ones are probably the most valuable, etc. So here we go. Now before we dive into the coop and the barn and the animals that you can have in those, I want to talk real quickly about dogs and cats because as of at least the 1.4 update, they are virtually useless in the game. You never interact with them, or at least your interactions are irrelevant. The horse, on the other hand, can be quite valuable because it allows you to get around the town quicker. But that's again just an animal that is more of a tool than it is a source of income. So, before we actually jump into the coop and the barn, one other thing that I want to talk about is a silo. You are going to want to have a silo so that when you cut grass on your farm, it will automatically get stored in that silo. Now, each silo can hold 240 hay. A lot of veteran players will only have one silo because once you have one, you can grab the hay out of your silo and stick it into a chest and then go scythe some more hay. It will go into your silo, then you pull it out of there, continue to add it to your chest. Rather than having multiple silos, you just empty the silo when it's full and then fill it up again. So keep that in mind. But again, a key strategy early on in a playthrough is to not cut your hay, not cut your grass, because you want to save it until you have a silo on your farm, so that when you do cut that grass, it goes into the silo in the form of hay. Now, you're going to get a quest early on in your playthrough from Robin, and she is going to suggest that you build a coop. That's usually the first building for animals that people do decide to go ahead and actually purchase. You can purchase a barn first, but most people go the route of the coop because it's less expensive. When you first purchase the coop, you'll have capacity for 4 animals, and the only animal that you can purchase is going to be a chicken. Now, the chicken is not necessarily going to be high value, especially if you don't have a silo with hay in it, because hay will cost 50 gold a piece, and the eggs that you actually get from that chicken, at least initially, are only worth 50 gold a piece. So that's why it is important to get that silo early on so that you aren't spending money just to feed your animals and just kind of maintain a neutral payout in terms of income versus expenses. Now, there are levels of upgrades available for the coop and the barn. The first upgrade that you make from the coop to the big coop is going to unlock the ability to also have ducks and dinosaurs. And it's also going to unlock the incubator where you can place an egg, and after several days, that egg will hatch and give you an additional animal. So your capacity goes from 4 to 8. Your options for animals that you can purchase and access goes up as well, and then you also have access to the incubator. When you upgrade from the big coop to the deluxe coop, it also gives you access to the ability to purchase rabbits. And it gives you an auto feed system that is going to take hay from your silo and immediately put it onto the feeding bench so that you don't actually have to even go into the coop and grab the hay and set it out for the animals. So that is a big advantage when you get to that deluxe coop level so that you don't have to deal with feeding the animals on a regular basis. Another thing that is nice to have, and you can purchase once you get to level 10 farming skill, is the auto grabber. You can purchase it from Marnie for 25,000, and it is definitely worth it. Once you get deep into the game, it's nice to not have to be able to go around and pick up all the eggs off the floor and then take them to the shipping bin. You just walk into the barn, and if your auto grabber is there, you just grab those items out of the auto grabber. You can still say hello to your pets to help increase their happiness, but then you just take off. The feed will already be out there as long as you had hay in your silo, so there's very little interaction in terms of maintenance to take care of your animals. Now let's talk about the barn. The barn is going to be very similar to the concept of the coop in that the first level is going to give you access to cows, and your capacity will be just quantity 4. Once you purchase the upgrade to the big barn, you will then have access to goats, and you will have the ability for a pregnancy to occur. So if you have an animal, there is a small percentage chance that they will become pregnant and eventually give birth to another cow or goat, for example. So it's not very common, but it is something that does come along with that upgrade to the big barn. And then finally, the deluxe barn is going to give you access to sheep and pigs. And again, that auto feed system that is so nice. Now, pigs are not probably, pigs are definitely the most valuable animal in terms of livestock in the entire game. They dig up truffles in spring, summer, and fall as long as they are allowed to get outside of the barn. So it is highly recommended that you just leave the barn door open so that they can get outside and go dig up those truffles at the crack of dawn. And it's also a good idea to fence in the area around the barn so that those pigs don't roam all over your farm digging up truffles and then you have to go find them wherever they are. If you keep a small pasture penned in for them, it's easier for you to locate those truffles, and then you can just dump them into the shipping bin or put them into an oil maker for even higher profit value. Now let's talk about what kind of product you actually can get out of these animals. Chickens, ducks, and dinosaurs all lay eggs. You can either just sell the eggs, you can use them for cooking, you can eat them, or you can turn them into mayonnaise. Now, obviously, the chicken mayonnaise and chicken eggs are worth the least. Duck eggs and duck mayonnaise, the next most, and then the dinosaur eggs and dinosaur mayonnaise have the highest value out of that trio. The other animal for in regards to coop animals is a rabbit, and a rabbit will either drop wool or a rabbit's foot. You can use the wool and use a loom to turn it into cloth, and then eventually you can take that cloth to Emily's, use it in her sewing machine to tailor clothes, or you can just sell the cloth for a pretty good profit. Now, barn animals tend to give you a little bit more value in terms of income. Cows and goats obviously produce milk. Without the auto grabber, you have to milk the cows or goats, respectively, to actually collect that resource, and then you can put it into a cheese press in order to turn it into cheese for even more value. A lot of people like to use cheese as a source of energy and health, so it's a good one to kind of take into the mines, particularly the skull caverns, whenever you have access to those. But again, cows and goats can give you milk or cheese. Sheeps will obviously produce wool, and again, you can either just sell the wool or turn it into cloth. Pigs are a little bit different from any other animal in the game because what they can produce for you is truffles, but they will only do it spring, summer, and fall. And it has to be a sunny day, so it can't be raining, and they have to get outside of the barn. So, what a lot of players do is just leave the barn door open so that they can get out whenever they want and fence in the area around the barn so that they have a confined space where they can actually dig up those truffles. That way, you're not having to roam around on your farm trying to find them. But those truffles can be very valuable. You can sell them as is, or you can put them into an oil maker for even more profit. Now, over the winter, those pigs just stay inside all the time, so that's where they don't add a lot of value. But what a lot of people like to do is just collect some of those truffles as the season goes on, because if the pigs like you enough, they'll dig up more than one each day. You can save some of those extras and sell those over the course of the winter for a little bit of a consistent stream of income in a season where you're not getting that income from crops. So keep that in mind as a potential strategy just to kind of balance out your income throughout the year. Another thing that you will want to do is go over to Marnie's at some point and get a heater for each one of your coops and barns and place it into those buildings, because that helps increase happiness over the course of the winter season. There are two things that actually impact the value of the items that the animals produce: friendship and mood. Now, friendship is impacted by things like petting your animals, which is basically just interacting with them, milking or shearing in terms of cows and sheep, respectively. And then if they eat grass outside, that actually helps make them happier as well. Things that impact friendship in a negative way are if they do not get fed, they are trapped outside overnight, or you don't pet/talk to them on a day-to-day basis. So what a lot of people like to do is just leave the coop and barn doors open, but pen in the area around them, kind of creating a pasture where they are confined so that each day you just go inside that pasture, interact with each of them, and they will be happy on a day-to-day basis. So keep that in mind. The other thing that impacts the value of the produce that they provide is their mood. Things that impact mood are, again, petting, eating grass outside. In the wintertime, if they are in an area that has a heater, are they fed? Are they outside late? Things like that. So again, it's just generally speaking a good idea to let them go in and out as desired. Keep a heater in the coop or barn so that over the winter it keeps them warm and keeps them happy. And if you do those things, their relationship with you will go up, and they will eventually produce large eggs, large milk, better quality items in general. So, but again, friendship and mood are the two factors that impact the quality of the produce that the animals give you. There's more information about that relationship mechanics on the Stardew Valley wiki, so be sure to check that out. But it's pretty detailed, and again, the bottom line is just take care of your animals and they will be happy overall. Do not lock them out of the coop or barn at night, because there's a 50% chance that there will be an action where they will actually be attacked by wolves and be gone the next day, and nobody wants to see that happen. To recap, in order to purchase the Cooper barn, you head to Robbins and have her build those buildings respectively. To purchase the animals and the equipment that you would use to hypothetically take care of those animals, you'll get those from Marnie's ranch. The rest is up to you. Just make sure they're fed, warm, and have access to get in and out of the barn and coop respectively, and you will do just fine, and they can make you a lot of money. I hope that this video has been helpful, so please be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we will see y'all next time.